Throughout the chapters of this book, we have described the flat Earth model as though our world were a circular disk, a covered plate adrift in the void. This image was used merely as a means of approximation for the reader, for the true model is somewhat different. The more comprehensive vision depicts our known continents, followed by an ice barrier, beyond which lie other continents illuminated by another sun that circles them by some mysterious mechanism, and then yet another ice barrier. And so, worlds upon worlds, their number and nature known only to God Almighty. Some have claimed that there are 7 distinct realms, each governed by its own physical laws, citing as evidence the verse, God is he who created 7 heavens, and of the earth their like. Others, however, have asserted that these 7 earths lie beneath ours, layered just as the heavens are layered. This is the hypothesis of the hollow earth. As for the beings said to inhabit these realms, some are said to resemble us, while others differ entirely. Certain ones are endowed with extraordinary abilities, capable of assuming any form, even that of humankind itself, such that some may have crossed into our world and live among us. Upon this idea rests one of the most renowned conspiracy theories, the reptilian conspiracy theory, first popularized by the English writer and broadcaster David Icke. Since this theory is interwoven with a hollow earth hypothesis, we shall examine it in detail later. For now, let us begin our journey across these vast lands with a figure mentioned in the Holy Scriptures, in the book of Daniel, by the name Lugranayim, a king of the Medes. This ancient people inhabited the Zagros Mountains, in the region now known as Kurdistan and Azerbaijan. The name Lugranayim means the one with 2 horns, the very title by which he is known in the Quran, Tul-Qarnayn. Scholars have long differed in their interpretation of Tul-Qarnayn's identity. Some held that he was a prophet, others that he was an angel. The majority, however, including Ibn Abbas and Ibn Kathir, believed him to be a righteous servant of God and a just king. And just as they differed regarding his nature, so too did they disagree on the origin of his name. Some said he was called Tul-Qarnayn because he ruled over both Persia and Rome. Others claimed he wore 2 braids of hair that resemble horns. Wahb ibn Munabi asserted that he bore 2 horns of brass upon his head. Yet it must be noted that many Israelite traditions of Jewish origin were falsely attributed to both Wahb ibn Munabi and Kabi al-Abr. Thus, the claim that Tul-Qarnayn possessed literal horns is likely an intrusion from such sources, a view also rejected by Ibn Kathir. At last, some explained that he was called Tul-Qarnayn because he reached both horns of the sun, its rising and its setting. He traveled, they said, to the place where the sun rises and to the place where it sets. Here we must pause, for this interpretation cannot pass without question. As we know, there is no single, fixed point from which the sun rises, nor a specific place where it sets. How then could Tul-Qarnayn have reached both? Let us set aside this observation for now, for much could be said on it, and continue our journey with this man of whom the Almighty declared, "Indeed, we established him upon the earth, and we gave him means to all things." In Arabic, the word sabab signifies a path or a means, as in Pharaoh's words to Haman. Pharaoh said, "O Haman, build me a tower that I may reach the means of the heavens, so that I may look upon the God of Moses." That is, the pathways of the heavens by which he imagined he might reach the divine creator. Thus, God granted Tul-Qarnayn a means, way, for every matter. Naturally, knowledge is among the greatest means by which man attains his goals. So it should not surprise us to hear that Tul-Qarnayn may have possessed knowledge we do not, and that it was by this God-given knowledge that he reached the farthest ends of the earth, east and west, until he came upon a place between 2 barriers. The Almighty says, until when he reached between the two barriers, he found beside them a people who could scarcely understand speech. This verse does not necessarily mean that these people spoke an unknown language. Rather, it is more likely that they communicated in a manner unfamiliar to us. But how then did Tulkarnain understand them? Did he struggle to discern their need? Some suggest that he used an interpreter. Yet the more probable view is that he understood them without difficulty, for the verse indicates that it was they who could not grasp human speech. Tulkarnain, on the other hand, had been granted means to all things, and he followed a way. Thus, he likely knew their mode of communication and perceived without effort that they sought his aid in building a barrier between themselves and the people of Gog and Magog. Note well the location of these people. It lay between two barriers, a passage or gap between mountains or walls. They wished Tulkarnain to close this gap entirely, shutting Gog and Magog off from their path. And so he did. But how is it that modern aircraft or satellites, which claim to map every inch of our planet, have never captured this barrier? The only reasonable answer is that Tulkarnain's wall lies at the very extremities of the Earth, in a place no one has reached, perhaps deep within the vast ice wall that encircles our known world. Let us set aside for now the story of Tulkarnain, though we shall return to it, for it still holds much that is remarkable, and turn instead to another tale, that of a man named Richard Evelyn Byrd. Byrd was a pilot and navigator in the United States Navy. In 1926, he and another aviator, Floyd Bennett, became among the first men to fly over the North Pole. But Byrd's true legacy lay in his 4 great scientific expeditions to Antarctica, aimed at studying the ice sheets, meteors, cosmic rays, and geomagnetism. His first expedition began in 1928 and lasted 2 years. His second launched in 1933. Lasting another 2 years. During this mission, Byrd spent much of the harsh winter in solitude, later recounting his experience in his book Alone, the classic polar adventure. In 1939, Byrd led a third expedition, though it was cut short as World War II erupted. After the war, in 1947, he commanded the fourth expedition. Up to this point, nothing seems extraordinary. But 2 years after Byrd's death, a book appeared titled Worlds Beyond the Poles by the Italian author F. Amedeo Giannini. This was followed by another volume, The Secret Lost Diary of Admiral Richard Byrd, allegedly compiled from private papers by his daughter after his death. On these works rests the controversial theory that Admiral Byrd crossed the ice barrier at a certain point and reached a second Earth, or alternatively, that he inadvertently entered the inner world of the Hollow Earth. Yet, it is said he was forbidden from speaking publicly of it. In the diary attributed to him, Byrd allegedly wrote, "I have no liberty to disclose the following documents as I write these lines, and perhaps they shall never see the light of day. But I must fulfill my duty and record them here, that all may one day read them." He then adds, "Beyond the mountain range lies what appears to be a valley with a small river flowing through its center, though there should be no verdant valley below. There is certainly something amiss, something utterly unnatural." From that point, the tale began to assume the shape of legend. It is said that he accidentally entered the hollow of the earth, gradually losing control of his aircraft as though it were remotely guided, before it descended smoothly into a vast city shimmering with dazzling lights. Its inhabitants welcomed him warmly, informing him that the detonation of the atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki had deeply unsettled them. They entrusted him with a message for our world, warning of the dire consequences of nuclear power, that it would ultimately lead to the annihilation of human civilization. Why, then, do we say this story takes the form of myth? Beyond its resemblance to something inspired by 1001 Nights, its events are set in the Arctic in the year 1947, the very year Admiral Byrd was on his fourth expedition to the Antarctic. Thus, we must recall what was said at the outset, that certain parties seek to weave truth with falsehood, making the entire matter appear a jest, or obscuring reality amid a web of lies. The more likely explanation is that Admiral Byrd did indeed reach another land beyond the Antarctic ice barrier. Yet he encountered no inhabitants. He described it as an expanse of green plains of colossal size, comparable to France and Germany combined, or as some claimed, as vast as North America itself. Can we now draw a connection between Admiral Richard Byrd's account and the tale of Lugranayim? Might it be said that both reached the same place, or perhaps a similar one, where a passage through the icy barrier links our world with another? Recall when we discussed the so-called moon landing hoax, that some argued space rockets do not truly venture into space, as the agencies and global elite maintain, but rather toward lands hidden beyond the icy wall. If this be so, then it is conceivable that a secret communication exists between that elite and the beings dwelling there, who may have imparted to humankind the secrets of modern technology. Supporters of this claim argue that the technological leap achieved since the dawn of the space age, barely half a century, far surpasses the progress of thousands of preceding years. So, is there truly among us an elite who know with certainty of these other lands and remain in contact with their inhabitants? That knowledge rests with God alone, until the day comes when such mysteries are unveiled. Let us return now to Lugranayim and the rest of his remarkable story. Pay close attention. What follows is no more than an attempt to understand, a human effort that may prove correct or mistaken. This man reached the place of sunrise, and then journeyed to its setting, where he saw it sinking into a muddy spring. Once again, these words are perplexing, for we know that the sun has no fixed rising place, nor a singular setting point. And where is this muddy spring? Let us connect this with the words of the prophet, interpreting the verse. And the sun runs to its appointed resting place. That is the decree of the Almighty, the All-Knowing. He said, it goes until it prostrates beneath the throne. It is explained that the sun's prostration occurs when it passes beneath the throne in a manner known only to the Creator. Earlier, we discussed the flat Earth perspective regarding the stars, the sun, and the moon, noting that these celestial bodies we behold may not be their true forms, but rather projections in our sky, akin to holographic reflections. For this reason, God swore by the stations of the stars, declaring it a tremendous oath. Before we proceed, however, we must present the scientific view, that these stars lie at distances measured in light years, thousands or millions of years across. Thus, what we perceive is but the star's past. Its present form or location may have already changed. It may have exploded or wandered far away. Yet, for centuries, indeed, since the earliest star charts were drawn, none have observed a single star altering its position. In all cases, the stations of the stars remain among the many mysteries of creation, residing in a realm unknown to us, while what we behold is but a projection. The same holds true for the sun and the moon. Thus, it may be said that our world, and the other realms of the extended earth, are illuminated by a single sun, though revealed through multiple projections. In other words, one true sun revolves somewhere in the higher heavens, its light cast across various dimensions, appearing within each world as a distinct projection. This is why the Quran refers to the sun in the definite form, the sun, for it speaks of the true celestial body, not its reflections. The genuine sun remains beyond our sight, for the portion of the heavens accessible to us does not permit its vision. Yet perhaps, at the Earth's farthest edges, one might glimpse it directly, witnessing its true rising point, and at the opposite bounds, its true setting in the murky spring. Hence it does rise from a fixed place and set in a fixed place, though we dwelling within the holographic projection perceive it otherwise. Lugranayim, reaching the Earth's extremities, may well have seen the true sun itself, the place of its dawn, and later, the place of its descent into the dark waters. Note that when the Quran describes Lugranayim reaching the rising of the sun, it says, "He found it rising upon a people for whom we had made no shelter against it." The commentators explain that these people lacked dwellings or trees to shield them from its heat. Yet another interpretation suggests that the sun never truly set upon them, that perhaps they dwelt in the second earth, where the true sun and its second projection converge. Some even claim that we too witness this second projection, albeit indirectly, in what we call the aurora borealis. This phenomenon appears when charged particles from the sun interact with Earth's atmosphere, creating shimmering lights that dance across the skies of polar regions. In ancient lore, this spectacle was named aurora borealis, after the Roman goddess of dawn aurora, known to the Greeks as Eos. She was imagined as a radiant maiden gliding across the heavens to herald the morning, sister to Luna, the moon, and to Sol, the sun, and mother of the four winds, north, south, east, and west. But this phenomenon is neither a goddess renewing herself with every dawn, as mythology declares, nor merely the interaction of solar winds with Earth's magnetic field, as science asserts. Rather, it is in truth a reflection of the sun's second projection, or as others suggest, a reflection of the hidden sun within the Earth's hollow. For the third time, and the 10th, remember, all of this is no more than an attempt at comprehension, an endeavor of reason, faith, and philosophical reflection. The ultimate truth rests always and only with God.